Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time. And if you are joining us live, welcome to the session. If you're watching this on demand, welcome to you as well. If you've been following what we are doing for the past couple of months, we've been trying to put together a series of content which showcases the innovation that is happening in and around SAP ecosystem. We've had customers talk about how they are leveraging SAP products and SAP technologies in interesting ways. We've had startups talk about how they are leveraging SAP technology to solve specific problems for customers. We've had partners talk about how their products are solving critical pain points that customers have and how they kind of integrate in the seamlessly with the SAP solutions completely. All of this in order to answer the one question as to what all innovation is happening in and around SAP. So in the same vein, today we have the team from Eightfold.Ai. I know that we've already hosted them as part of the HR Special Interest Group. I think, if I'm not wrong, a year and a half back. But I'm pretty sure that there's some interesting content to share today, which is much more than what we did last time around. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Yadi from Eightfold. Please take it away.
Thank you, Mukesh, and very good morning, good afternoon to you all, and thank you for taking the time. My name is Yadvinder Gill. Feel free to call me Yadi. I'm based here in the UK, responsible for Eightfold strategic business across the region. So what we really wanted to do was give you a high-level overview of our company, talk a little bit about our product and what we are solving for in the marketplace. And then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Jack, who will take you through a quick demo visualization of the platform itself. Our founders, I just wanted to talk a little bit about where we are coming from and what our ethos of the company is. Our founders, they come from the likes of Google and Facebook. They were responsible for some of the market-leading programs in these organizations, be it YouTube recommendation engine, Facebook news feeds. I'm pretty sure most of us are avid users of these. Also, some of the other very engineering-oriented, AI-led programs across these organizations. Between them, they have somewhere around 85 plus patents in the space of AI and machine learning. And that's where our genesis and most of our product group and engineering folks come from as well. As an organization, our mission to provide the right career for everyone in the world, we are super excited about the opportunity that we bring to the marketplace. More importantly, for us, if there is one reason to get out of bed, this is the one. We feel this is achievable, even though it sounds quite obvious. The number one reason is with the right technology platform that we have built, invented, and we continue to deploy in partnership with SAP. Our vision, of course, a talent intelligence platform that leverages AI to transform how enterprise hire, develop, and retain a diverse workforce. Look, I think from a technology perspective, it's incredibly important that we make it achievable for our end users to utilize the technology in the format that they prefer. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. For organizations, it's incredibly important that we bring forth enterprise class SaaS solution, which I'll talk to you about now. We invented the world's first talent intelligence platform. It is essentially a single AI platform for all talent, irrespective of industry, region, and the type of work that is being carried out by the employee. We are growing quite rapidly. We've essentially been out of stealth mode just over 5 years ago now. Our global footprint is 150 plus customers across 110 countries. We are headquartered in California, 500 plus employees. I think that's gone up rapidly since I've joined the company. I've been with Eightfold getting close to 3 years now. And at that point, we were around 150 employees. So it's a huge gratitude to our partners and customers, obviously, helping us achieve what we've set out to solve for in the marketplace. Everything that you expect from an enterprise class SaaS provider, from a risk and compliance perspective, we bring that and a lot more, whether it is around ISO 27001, SOC 2 Type 2, FedRAMP, and GDPR, and much, much more, right? Now, the challenges that we've been seeing in the marketplace, which we set out to solve for. First and foremost, we see a lot of organizations invest in point solutions, and which is a great way of tactically solving for whatever pain points they have currently in the ecosystem. Over a period of time, what we have noticed is organizations have invested heavily in these point solutions, and none of these really talk to each other. So they are not interoperable. Data transfer or even ability to extract data is extremely limited. The other thing, what we've noticed is around organizations continue to look at historic perspective of employees. So essentially, they are heavily reliant upon CVs or profiles, which are self-attested documents by candidates. Where we come in, we are helping organizations and even employees or candidates help them project their future orientation, i.e., what's the potential that they bring to a particular role or job. Clearly, we all are aware post-pandemic workforce requires a different way of approach in the market. And that might be around cross-skilling, upskilling. That could be about remote working, and many of those criteria that come in. We see, again, a lot of employers are still playing catch up with this. And that's something, again, our platform is geared up to work for. And we'll get into some amount of detail in our subsequent slides and also as part of the demonstration. We see great initiatives around diversity and inclusion being taken up by multiple organizations. However, there are very few who can actually operationalize it. So Eightfold, again, is coming to market, not just getting you on stage and talking about how you're offering D&I programs, but let's talk about how you're operationalizing it and what are the outcomes you're achieving out of that, right? That's what we are building for. Again, from a workforce alignment perspective, what are the needs of your organization today? Are you really ready for the new world of work? Are you looking at expanding a specific line of business? Are you still playing catch up post-COVID? How do you align your workforce in terms of upskilling and cross-skilling and ensuring that you have the right talent available for the right opportunity in the marketplace, right? So from a platform perspective, what we have done, as I mentioned earlier, we invented the world's first talent intelligence platform, and the platform is built on deep learning AI. Now, most of you might be aware that AI is quite a common word that we are using these days. But actually, what we really have built here, we have trained our algorithms with almost half of the world's working population. So today, our platform understands somewhere around 1.5 million skills, job roles, job trajectories, nuances of specific skills. So what does a head of finance in a retail bank look like versus a head of finance in manufacturing? So those nuances and understanding of job roles and job trajectories, and how do you break down skills in a particular industry for specific roles. So all of that learning comes out of the box in our platform. Of course, we integrate seamlessly with SAP SuccessFactors. And that's a system where we are consuming our data from. And that's where, we are bringing the real value, the catalyst of growth for our customers as well. Right. From a platform perspective, we cover the entire journey, right from hire to retire. Now, given that this is a SaaS-based platform, if we start from at the bottom of the slide, what we are saying is that, look, first and foremost, we integrate with SAP SuccessFactors. So that's a primary requirement that we have. Now, once we integrate, we consume all of that data. We refresh that data when we are looking at primarily around talent acquisition piece. And then we are stack ranking all of that information to be utilized by recruiters, hiring managers, and HR leaders within the organization. We also provide talent management, which is based primarily around internal mobility, workforce planning. But more and more, we are seeing a lot of use cases emerge from an upskilling and reskilling perspective, right? More recently, we've also offered, or we are offering in the marketplace, Talent Flex, which is based around, how do you leverage all the skills and potential that you have in your contractor workforce, essentially building up a single talent marketplace for all of your candidates, employees, referrals, and contractor base, right? It's quite a crowded slide, but I just want to highlight a few things over here. From a talent acquisition perspective, what we are doing in the marketplace is essentially driving talent right from attraction all the way to selection, right? And how are we doing this? Well, if you were to look at a typical enterprise organization, what we've seen is, they from a candidate conversion perspective, they have somewhere between 1 to 5% of candidate conversion on their career side. In our case, working alongside SAP SuccessFactors RMK, we can take that number to anywhere between 15 to 30% of conversion rates, right? And how do we do that? Well, we have a very robust AI-powered personalized career side, and which is supported by an AI-powered chatbot. From a engagement perspective, we've actually turned the tables in terms of how do you not only attract talent, but communicate with them. What we saw was a typical email to a candidate today would be somewhere around 19 to 24 hours turnaround time. And I'm being extremely optimistic about this, right? Utilizing SMS and WhatsApp instead of emailing, has substantially reduced that time from, a given number of hours to literally down to minutes. So that, again, improves not just the volume, but actually the velocity of hiring across the candidate journey. Of course, there are other aspects of the talent acquisition module. I actually, just focusing on the matching to rank screening of candidates, that's one of the key focus for us as we built this particular module. We have a patent in the space where we have the ability, or the AI has the power to match candidates to all open roles and stack rank them based on the candidate's experience, potential, and what they could potentially bring to the next two jobs within the organization. So that's pretty powerful, as you can imagine, for any organization where candidates are automatically getting matched to every single open job rec which is available in their ecosystem. Of course, we provide smart scheduling and automated interview feedback those are some of the capabilities that we provide out of the box. I'm not going to dive into every single one of these, but I just wanted to give you a quick flavor of what we are doing in this space from a talent acquisition perspective and how AI is supporting the organization, the recruiter, hiring manager, and the HR leadership, including the candidate. Look, I just, again, wanted to highlight some of the universal differentiators that we bring in this space. First and foremost, a single AI platform for all talent. I think it's important. Why? Because it is helping organizations with some substantial outcomes around productivity gains, around time to market, around improving their volume of hire, velocity of hire, and so on, right? So people are not switching between different systems. And that's where the whole integration comes in with SAP SuccessFactors as well. The second one is around AI insights. And insights, if you have the insights that you need, then you can build and activate a global skills framework. What do we mean by that? Well, how do you identify that if there's a role within an organization, that role you're hiring for similar skills and potential, and you're not kind of constantly changing the profile of that role and hiring different individuals against a similar role, right? So that's something we help a lot of organizations with as well. From an instant pipeline rediscovery and candidate matching perspective, that's our core capability. Essentially, from a talent acquisition standpoint. Again, I think this is better explained when Jack takes you through the demo, and you will see the power of the AI there. Native D&I, look, we talked a lot about it. And we continue to have this as a number one discussion point with a lot of our customers. Essentially, what we have done, we've built an equal opportunity algorithm. And our AI does not take into consideration any personal identifier like race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and so on and so forth. It's merely looking at your skills and potential when identifying talent or matching talent against every single job rec. We also provide masking capability. So a recruiter or a hiring manager will not see a name and some of the other personal identifiers till he or she is obviously meeting the candidate in person. Again, pretty powerful tools and being widely utilized by our clients across the globe. We are all about outcomes. Right, from a results perspective, that's what drives adoption of Eightfold in the marketplace. And this is a very small representation of the kind of outcomes that we are achieving working with our SAP partners, but also more importantly, our customers. And again, I don't want to get into too much of details here, but happy to take this post our demo. So we have enough time to kind of discuss or dive into any of these specific opportunities, right? I mentioned there are multiple use cases that we are coming across. So we are, working with organizations who are looking at or going through mergers and acquisitions. How do they identify who are the people that they should be investing in? How do they identify individuals who need to be reskilled or upskilled, or what a lot of our customers call reallocation of human capital? How do you identify talent which needs to be deployed in a specific line of business, given post-COVID, how things have changed and how consumer behaviors have changed as well? So multiple use cases being looked at in the marketplace. And it's just phenomenal how our AI is able to achieve those use cases, because it's no longer just about acquiring talent or managing talent. It's also about agility in the marketplace and being able to redeploy your talent as and when the market changes. Now, this is this is a golden slide for us. Of course, we have a very strong partnership with SAP SuccessFactors. I think it was a proud moment for us as we achieved the SAP 2021 Pinnacle Award, Partner of the Year. Of course, we are the top endorsed app partner in 2021. We do a lot of work with SAP across the globe. We have multiple API integrations, so helping our customers jointly, where we have these integrations out of the box, not just for SuccessFactor, Employee Central, Learning Management System, but also Fieldglass and a lot more coming down the pipe. We work with partners as similar to SAP, and these are implementation partners. From a worldwide scalability perspective, I did mention 110 plus countries. I think that number of languages has gone up. It's somewhere close to 22 languages, but such is the scale at which and the speed at which we are moving. So look, from a partnership standpoint, I think no one should be in doubt that we have grown substantially working with SAP in the space. We are enhancing the value of investment that customers have made in SAP SuccessFactors. Some of the brand names listed on the right-hand side that we continue to work with in this space. I think I've spoken about the number of countries we are in and the industries we are serving. Again, that number is slightly dated. I believe we are somewhere around just under 25 industries now. And those are some of the key languages that we support. Of course, the list is a lot longer. Any questions at this stage? If not,
let's go through the demo, and then we'll come back to the questions at the end.
So without further ado, let me pass it over to Jack, who is our solution engineer based in the UK, and he will show you how the magic happens.
Thank you, Yadi. I really appreciate the introduction there. So let me start sharing my screen. Perfect. So in terms of the demonstration today, has that come through?
Yes, it's coming through, no problem.
Perfect. So in terms of the demonstration today, what we're going to do is spend about 20-25 minutes having a brief overview of the entire platform. That's really going to highlight both the talent acquisition and talent management sections of the Eightfold offering. So if we start with the talent acquisition side of things, and really what we're looking at there is how we can gather and attract and retain as many candidates to us as an organization as possible, right? So the first stage that we can help our customers with this is with a personalized career site. Now, I have a demonstration career site here, and we can either offer a full career site build, or alternatively, some of the functionality and workflows that I'm going to show you now can be embedded on your customer's career site that they currently have, right? So this looks like any other career site. I can come to this and I can start to search for jobs and search for this by the role I want to do and where I want to work and potentially any skills. And we think that this is quite an antiquated way of doing things. So ultimately, what we're going to do is utilize our artificial intelligence to be able to enhance this process for our candidates, right? So when I come to this site and I'm looking for a job for your organization, ultimately what I can do is find jobs. And at this point, what I'm doing is uploading a copy of my CV or my resume to the profile, to the site itself, and then signing your company's data privacy agreement. And it's at this point that our artificial intelligence will take over. The artificial intelligence will take over. Now, ultimately, what we're doing there is matching this person to an online profile that we've been able to expand for them to try and understand their skills, their experiences, what these people are capable of, all the things that potentially aren't on people's CVs. Because let's be honest, we're not all professional CV and resume writers. And what this will do is then match me as a candidate to jobs available within this organization. So as I scroll down, I can start to see here, well, actually, look, I've been linked to all of these jobs. I'm a strong match to these roles. And we can come on to how the match scoring is then relevant for this process. And ultimately then on the right-hand side, I can see why. Why have I been matched to this job? Well, actually, it's because I have relevant experience. I've worked in the same industry. I have matching skills that are required for this particular job. And this is all really powerful for not just the candidates seeing this, but also for the recruiters and the hiring team, because it means the candidates that I'm getting through my pipeline that are applying for this job, I can see exactly how relevant and how well they fit at a glance using our, as Yadi mentioned, right, using our patented stack ranking against these candidates. Now, if I'm happy as a candidate to apply for this job, I can do that as well. So ultimately, I can just go ahead and apply for this role, potentially fill in some information that's readily available. I can also ask some questions if I need to. Again, you can make these mandatory, make them not. But ultimately, we're just trying to keep this process as simple as possible to get your candidates through. And I think that process is really, really quite powerful and simple, because ultimately, in that sort of 1 minute demonstration there, I've been able to go to a careers site, get matched to jobs that are relevant to me and make the application. And I haven't had to click my keyboard once. I haven't had to create a profile, answer a load of questions. I've been able to go through that entire process and be adequately matched to jobs and make that application, just giving that much better candidate experience. Now, obviously, recruiting, that's only one part of the recruiting and talent acquisition side of things, right? So ultimately, we have the underlying Eightfold platform. So this is where I can start to see and manage my positions, my communities, my events and campaigns and analytics and information. But ultimately, this is where I've got my jobs, the jobs that I was just looking at online there. And if I go and have a look at one of these, let's look at a data scientist that I'm hiring for. Ultimately, what we do before we publish a job, before we make it available, we go through a period of calibration. And we'll touch on that. But the first thing I wanted to note is that you'll notice that we are synced with SuccessFactors in this instance, where customers are an SAP customer as well. And this is ultimately where we have those APIs integrating the two pieces of software. So as soon as job requisitions are created within SAP, we instantly see them come into the solution here. And backwards and forwards, right? As candidates come into the Eightfold platform, they are replicated. We have a bi-directional sync. So whenever I'm looking at either system, I'm looking at one true source of data. Like I said, though, when the job comes here, we do go through a period of calibration. And this is us and your customers essentially telling the AI what it is we want to look for when we look for these candidates. You notice I already have a list of candidates, and these are candidates within my talent pool. Okay, these are people that are already with current employees, already part of my ATS and the talent pools that people have within there. Anyone that's previously been declined for a job. Using our artificial intelligence, we can resurface all of those applicants at one time, update their information with relevant data from publicly available sources, because those candidates that were unsuccessful for jobs 2 years ago that have sat in a talent pool have probably gone on, got a new job, got a different set of skills and experiences, and are now very relevant for jobs that your companies are hiring for. So as I go through this calibration, this is, like I said, just us telling the AI this is who we want to hire. And first of all, I can start to specify ideal candidates. Again, I may not be hiring these people. They may already work for me. They may work on the other side of the world. And this is just a link to their LinkedIn profile, for example. Okay, but this is us telling the AI, this is the type of person with the type of skills and experiences that we would like to hire for this particular role. We can also then start to reiterate, look, we're looking for particular sets of skills or particular job titles. Whenever I put a skill into any of this, the artificial intelligence will also then start to recommend skills that are related to this. So we can start to see skills adjacencies. People that are proficient in Python quite possibly have some C++ or Java or algorithm knowledge as well. And we're able to see those trends on a global scale. We can also start to look at particular levels of experience or industries or educational requirements, if that's something that your customer is using, and potentially looking at whether I want to look at location or diversity criteria, whatever these are going to be. And ultimately, though, this is just getting down to this number, right? These are the candidates that I have for this particular role. So let's go and have a look. These are people already within my talent network for this particular job. These people may have been past referrals, they may be current employees, they may have been imported by recruiters, and you're able to filter and manage all of this information. But when I have a look at my candidates, I'm able to really start to get some information. This is why these people have been matched and ranked to these particular jobs. This is why they're the top of the list. We can also, using our AI and losing this global data set that we're looking at, really start to gather career insights around individuals as well. When I have a look at someone like Noelle here, I can see that this says that actually she's in the top 10% of data scientists for her company. Well, what does that actually mean? So when I have a look at her profile within here, and her profile is going to contain every piece of information that we have for her, I can look at her career highlights to understand, well, actually, it takes about 14 years to be doing that job in her company based on her experiences, and we can see that she's been able to do it in just over 8. So we can start to gather not just direct information and what someone's put on a CV, really global career insights about your individuals that are that you're recruiting for, match them to relevant roles. Additionally, we've talked about sort of a couple of different ways of recruiting people, which is people applying using our own talent network, but all of your customers are all going to have a team of recruiters going out and hiring, trying to find the right individuals. And that's not going to change. So we have some tools to help with that as well. If I quickly bring up a LinkedIn profile, I'm going to use Yadi's, who was speaking a little earlier on, and a recruiter's come across Yadi's profile, and I want to see how relevant he is for certain jobs, right? We have an add-in to Google Chrome that's available on the App Store now, and I can instantly open this and see, well, actually, here's Yadi's information. I can see he's actually a really good match to this sales manager job that I'm hiring for. This is why he's got matching skills and matching ability. And I can now save him directly to the pipeline. I can start to contact him directly through here from Eightfold. I could potentially save him to a talent community, which is essentially our version of talent pools, utilizing those artificial intelligence as well. Ultimately, though, just making everyone's life a lot easier at every stage of the recruitment process as we go through this. But if I just go back to my data scientist role that we were having a look at, as you can see, we can start to move people through and advance them to different stages. These stages, again, will all be synced to the customers' versions of SuccessFactors. And ultimately, we're going to take people through that entire recruitment stage, right? Whether or not it's going to be the arranging interviews, do we want to do some screening, potentially some assessment information, and we essentially sit over the top of SuccessFactors at this point, all the way until the offer stage. Okay, well, at which point we don't do anything around that in part of the Eightfold platform. That's all done back in the SuccessFactors platform. I'm slowly but surely running out of time and not speaking fast enough. And I need to move on to the talent management side of the solution to give you an area, a bit of an overview there. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to bring over a different screen. Ultimately, from a talent management perspective, all of the employees for your customers will have a profile created within the Eightfold platform. And Within here, we integrate directly to SuccessFactors, but also, as you've seen, to publicly available data. And this is why we refer to this as a self-updating profile. Employees don't need to come in here to update personal information and job histories and what skills they have, because we're going to update it. They, of course, can update it if that information is not publicly available, but we're going to take it from all of the available sources that we have. Employees will then be able to see a number of different things about themselves, whether or not this person's available to potential mentoring. I can see where I sit in the organization. I can see a skills assessment of all of my skills, exactly where I sit and have been ranked against certain skills. And I can also do a self-assessment that my manager can view as how I think my skills are for my particular role. I can also see where I sit in my organization. You will also notice that we're able to integrate to external sites as well. Okay, if we want to get Salesforce, Asana, GitHub information in here, we integrate to sort of 20 or 30 different other platforms to bring in certain information about your customers' employees, right? I can see what projects I'm working on, what courses I'm working on, essentially a full employee overview of what I'm doing as in my current role. Now, ultimately, though, this is about talent management. We want to be able to nurture our employees and give them the best experience while they're working for us as an organization, right? Which means that we can start to give them opportunities. So first of all, I can start to define my career goals. What is it I want to achieve as an employee? Whether it's around my career aspirations, right? What skills do I have that I'm not utilizing that I'd like to? What skills do I want to develop? Do I want to learn a new language? Do I want to learn about public speaking, whatever that's going to be? Do I have any career aspirations? Are there certain jobs I'm looking towards doing? Whether it's potentially linear moves. This person's a development manager. So you can see there's some development roles she's specified here, but it may be a completely sideways move. We may want to look at how we can help this person move into marketing or sales or finance or whatever that's going to be. As we know, there's obviously roles within the organization. I can also take this further and start to look at potentially different locations that I want to work. Do I have availability to work on projects that are going to be available in my organization, because we have a complete project marketplace as part of the Eightfold talent management platform. So we can see some availability here. And then following this, once these are created, the artificial intelligence is going to start to recommend projects, courses, learning, mentoring that's going to help me develop those skills that I've required. And I'll show you that in a moment. The second part of this, though, that we have is a full career planner, because ultimately the number one reason still today that people leave jobs is that they can't find a career path to the next job. If I want to be the sales manager in Europe for Eightfold, how do I do that? And if I don't know how to do it, what I'm going to do is work out or go and find job offerings for that job title online and start to apply for them, because that's a clear path to get how I want, to get to where I want. So we have a career planner that's going to give your employees that path, right? So I can see roles that I've specified that I'm interested in taking, or alternatively, I can start to look at roles the artificial intelligence is going to suggest for me, based on my skills, based on my experiences, based on my career trajectory so far. Like I said, we're not stopping those sideways moves, but the AI is suggesting that these are potential roles that you might want to look at. So let's have a look at one of these. If I say, well, actually, right, I'm really interested in becoming the director of engineering for this particular organization. The AI can say, well, actually, you're pretty good. You have these skills that are required for that job. Ultimately, though, you don't have these. We haven't been able to validate that you have these skills. They're not on your profile. These are required skills that you need to be able to do that particular job. Brilliant. And a lot of talent management systems will sort of stop here and not really recommend anything. But ultimately, we can plan this out. So I can now just go, well, actually, let's continue this process. And the AI and the system itself can start to recommend to me courses that are going to be available to teach me those skills so I can upskill myself. I can start to see projects that are running within my organization at the moment that I can apply to that are going to help teach me some of these skills. And I can start to see mentors within the organization that are going to be readily available to help me and teach me some of these skills or show me how to do things. And this is great because I now have that career, a pathway to get to where I want to, as well as not just getting the job I want, but upskilling myself and working on different things in the process. Now, all of this then is available, all of my career planning and skills planning and the skills that I wanted to develop are all available to me on the home page of my my Eightfold talent management profile. And one of the first things I will point out at this point is that as this loads, this is readily available through a mobile application as well as a desktop. So people don't need to be at a computer to be able to do this. I can work on my mobile application as well. And as I scroll through this, I'll be able to see some company updates. We can see other functionality here, whether it's about referring friends for jobs or updating my career preferences or what it's going to be, but I can now start to see all of that information. You've said that these are your skills and interests. This is how you can start to achieve them, courses and projects that are available. You've said you're interested in these jobs. These are projects and courses to help you do those. Perfect. Now, additionally, within the talent management space as well, everything that's available to employees is fully available through a marketplace where I can see all of the courses, all of the jobs, all of the projects that are readily available to my employees. I can also see a complete people database. The artificial intelligence has been recommending specific projects or courses or jobs to me. Okay, but this is where I can go and view the entire functionality within there. As a manager, of course, I can then still go and see and manage my team. So I'd have a look at certain elements. And I can also start to get insights about my employees as we're having a look here as well. I will just move back to my my previous screen, and ultimately, because I have about 2 minutes left before I will stop for questions, part of the Eightfold platform is also looking and utilizes full insights across talent acquisition, talent management, so that your customers can get full reporting capabilities and functionality out of the solution. As you can see, I have a significant number here. So some of the ones I wanted to point out, though, is when we've been talking quite heavily around skills, right? So this is, we are able to analyze skills on an individual and a company-wide basis so that we can start to understand, well, actually, look, you've got these skills that are growing in your organization, or these particular skills are quite high or quite low. I won't run through all of these, but one I want to point out in particular is this. You can start to then analyze the top skills gained and lost within your organization over the periods of time, so that as companies, you can make much more informed decisions that actually, look, if I've lost 200 people that know how to write Python and I haven't recruited anyone that knows how to write Python, this is probably quite a problem for me, depending on what I do as an organization or depending on those skills. And again, it's just making sure that the artificial intelligence is giving your customers the most informed, up-to-date data. And looking at the clock, I think I've been talking for about 24 minutes there. So I think I'll probably stop there, Mukesh. I'll probably hand it back to you and potentially any questions at all.
Thanks for taking us through the demo, Jack, and
you're very welcome.
Thanks for talking about the product and the functionalities, Yadi. A few questions that pop up for me. The first one being, there is a lot of talk around inbuilt biases when it comes to artificial intelligence, and how do you remove those biases from artificial intelligence applications as well. So any thoughts, comments on how your application actually ensures that none of those biases actually enter into your artificial intelligence algorithms?
Absolutely. So I can, yeah, no, thank you for that. Look, great question. And the short answer is that, look, the way we have built the system The algorithms don't take into consideration any of the personal identifiers when it is, matching candidates. That's number one. Number two, we also run, rigorous testing processes to ensure that the algorithms are still, what they were when we created, in terms of their behavior and the way they are performing. So there are multiple checks and balances we have in place. We have a patent in this space as well around diversity and inclusion. So there's a lot of focus, emphasis we have, wherein the AI at any given point is not kind of giving into any subconscious bias that might be creeping in due to the usage of the system, or due to let's say, the mindset of the developers who are working on it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So you mentioned the partnership with SuccessFactors, right? So can you elaborate a little bit more on what exactly do you integrate with, and as a subsequent thing, how long does it take for someone, once they decide to go ahead with Eightfold, to kind of go live and start seeing benefits from that perspective? Time to value.
Sure. So look, from an integration standpoint, it's across the SAP SuccessFactors stack, right? So integrating into the talent TA part, integrating into RMK, into EC and also around LMS integration we have done recently, and integration. I think with our Talent Flex capability, we also have with Fieldglass. So it's across the board. Of course, there's a lot more that can be done from a integration and usage perspective. But I think there's enough out there that we can go to market confidently and say, look, Mr. Customer, there's a lot more we offer jointly. And from a value standpoint, look, we have no doubt that given what SAP provides in the marketplace, which is essentially market leading from a talent perspective, and then Eightfold sitting on top, the value realization is very much focused towards outcomes, right? So we essentially enhance the investments that they have, or your customers have already made in SAP SuccessFactors, right? I also wanted to highlight, for us, outcomes are incredibly important. So we track those outcomes, those KPIs on a quarterly basis, and we play them back to the clients to say, look, this is the value you're getting out of the platform, and this is how we are improving the KPIs that you signed up with us on, right? So that's again a very core part of what we offer in the marketplace.
Super. So some of the questions that typically every time we have a session like this, customers ask. Number one, how is your product licensed?
Mm-hmm. So look, licensing is quite straightforward. We are a SaaS-based solution, and we hold it very close to, from a licensing standpoint, we hold it very close to our mission statement, which is the right career for everyone in the world. So essentially what we do is we look at the size of the organization, by which what I mean is number of employees. And that's how we come up with a commercial number in terms of the value of the subscription fee of the contract, right? Now, we are not kind of drawing lines between if it's a mobile device or it's a laptop or whatever that might be. We are not drawing lines between the type of users, whether they are power users or HR users or managers or whatever. We want every single individual in that organization to utilize the platform. And that's where we believe that, we will be closer to achieving our mission that we signed up to.
Cool. And in your experience, I mean, you already said you have more than 100 plus customers, right?
Yeah.
In your experience, what kind of customers, you can talk about it from an industry perspective, from a size perspective, from a organizational philosophy or culture perspective, whatever you want to take. What kind of companies do find the fastest ROI from investing in your product? So if I have to reword it, who is an ideal customer for Eightfold?
That's an interesting question. I think all customers have their own strengths and challenges. Look, from a customer perspective, I think, there are a couple of things that they need to realize. Number one, if they are looking to transform talent within the organization and or talent externally, which is coming into the organization, this should be a corporate-wide driven initiative, number one, right? You cannot achieve that if you are regionally focused or if you're focused on a line of business. Number two, you need to have the support from your management. We've seen organizations who don't have that sponsorship struggle as they go through this, right? Number three, it's all about, finding the right partners. And I think, from a SAP Eightfold partnership perspective, it's incredibly important, again, to identify that and make sure that they are choosing world-class technology providers to achieve their objectives. So these, I think, in a nutshell, these are the three criteria, I would say, making a customer successful.
Interesting. So another typical question that usually comes up in all of these sessions is, how long does it take for a customer to kind of, go live from the time they procure the licenses? And do you implement it yourself, or do you have partners who can actually implement it for you?
Yeah. So look, we work with multiple partners, I think some of which I listed out. From a go live perspective, it can be, again, it varies on what we are trying to achieve here, right? But typically what we've seen is somewhere between 12 to 18 weeks is what we are talking about. And we are talking about global organizations here, right? Global rollouts across regions, multi-country, multi-language, all of that good stuff. So it's fairly quick from an implementation perspective. Now, partnerships, look, that's what we thrive on. So we, my colleague Chris is on the call. We partner with all the major SIs, I think some of which we listed, which is around, whether it's PwC, Deloitte, Alexander Mann Solutions, EY, and Blue Crab from a niche partner perspective, and many, many more.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. And probably the last question that I have from a talent management perspective, the case from a talent acquisition perspective is pretty clear and straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to hire diverse candidates. They want to have the ability to kind of attract a lot of really good candidates, not depend on their CVs or their CV creating abilities. So all of that is kind of very clear. When it comes to talent management, and thanks for taking us through the demo, Jack. It is pretty interesting in terms of how you are able to kind of match what career aspirations employees have with the respective opportunities within the organization. So if you can probably help us understand a little bit of with an example, of how you helped, or this was kind of implemented and was successfully helped organizations to fill more positions from internal hire rather than actually having to go outside and hire from outside, because everyone knows, internal transfers are much cheaper, much easier, much longer lasting in terms of the employee staying in that role for a longer duration, cheaper. So any example that you can take, and I think that kind of will conclude our conversation for today.
Sure. Look, we have multiple such examples in the marketplace. Again, just from an internal mobility perspective, I think I can. We work with Tata Communications Limited as an organization, as a client of ours. In fact, one of the first clients that we started working with. Sort of, there's a much longer term relationship we have with them. And from an organization perspective, we have promoted a lot of the candidates that are coming through the pipe and kind of getting matched to jobs. But what we've realized with organizations like TCL is identification of talent within their own ecosystem, right? So, i.e., their employees. And that has led to a gradual increase in the number of internal hires. And we started off with a much sort of lower number, which I am not going to quote, but currently we are sitting somewhere around 81% from an internal hiring perspective. That's a substantial increase from a sort of a lower double-digit number that they were working on. But it's not just specific to them. We see this across organizations that we are working with. And the number one reason is because it's almost like a leaky bucket, that you have all your good talent leaving the organization. At the same time, you can't hire fast enough from external sources. So, providing an ability to identify and match talent, not just externally, but also internally, in the same view that every recruiter is looking at. I think that's the powerful capability that we provide here, right? So don't treat your employees as something of the past, but actually expose them to every single new opportunity. The last statement I just wanted to make was, and this was actually a statement made by one of our customers. They said there used to be this challenge where every employee is chasing a job within the company. And with Eightfold, now the roles are chasing employees as they progress to the next stage in their career, right? So that's a pretty powerful statement, and we appreciate that, and thanks to the technology we have built, working with the product team, but also working with partners such as SAP, making it a success in the marketplace.
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to end with that question is also because of the simple fact that if organizations are able to do that, which is to kind of improve or increase the number of internal hires, increase the number of promotions that they do from internal candidates, and if they're able to achieve what you just said, which is instead of employees searching for roles kind of going after employees, even if they're not applying for those roles, so then that actually creates an ROI which is way better than anything else that you can think of, and that's probably the best place that an HR head can be at from an ROI perspective on investing on a particular tool. So thank you so much for taking time and sharing your perspectives and a demo of your solution. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be of interest for the HR community within the Indus or the India user group. Yeah, thank you so much for being part of this LinkedIn Lunch and Learn series.
Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.